The amount of action, emotion, hilarity, and so many other amazing traits about this game are absolutely phenomenal, and I'm still so impressed how Rockstar Games pulled this off. But after my second playthrough of the story, it got me thinking, what is the best mission in the Red Dead Redemption 2 story? Now, anyone can just go to Google and look it up and it'll show a site with a bunch of missions ranked, but where's the fun in that? Where's the entertainment? In this video, I'm going to break down every single mission in Red Dead Redemption 2 Chapter 1 Coulter. I will be ranking the missions off of my opinion based on the gameplay, the plot, the humor, and other shit I find necessary. And if you're wondering, yes, I will be covering Chapter 2 next, and then I'll cover Chapter 3 and all the other shit, even the epilogues. Let's just get right on into it. Enjoy. Now, I did not like Chapter 1 my first 2 times playing the game, but after my third time playing it and really getting more involved with it than I should have the first 2 times, I have my final opinion on the chapter. It's underrated. Sure, it's boring and shit, but like, name a really good game that's not super intense right at the beginning. And it's already pretty intense. The first cutscene is everyone looking down at a dead guy who was their friend.
Davy's dead.
Also, just to let you know, for the first mission or 2, I accidentally had my mic on when I didn't mean to, so you're gonna hear me breathing a lot if I turn up the volume and stuff. So just for the first 2 missions. Sorry. Anyway, we don't really get introduced to all the characters in the first cutscene, but we know that there's a guy named Dutch who wants Arthur to ride out with him in this hellish weather to go find land. But before they do that, Dutch, who is basically the leader of the gang that they're all in, gives one of my favorite speeches he gives in the entire game.
I loved Davy, Sean, Mac. We are gonna ride out, and we are gonna find some food, safe. Now, there ain't nobody following us through a storm like this one. Stay strong. Stay with me. Come on, Arthur.
I forgot to mention that you play as Arthur Morgan. Now, if you don't know anything about this game and just clicked on this as pure curiosity, let me give you some context. This group of people are outlaws running from the law after a failed robbery in a town called Blackwater. It was a ferry job that apparently went poorly wrong, and the law and the Pinkerton Detective Agency has been on their ass for a good while. So they are desperately looking for a place to lie low. Now, we never get a clear understanding of what happened on the boat, and there's not that much talk of it, but there are a lot of questions being asked in the first chapter, specifically by Arthur, who wasn't even on the boat to begin with. So that's why they're all rounded up like this.
What really went down back there on that boat?
And after a long ass cutscene, there's finally some gameplay where you ride a horse very slowly in some snow that no one wants to be in. This is what happens when you don't write a script. You fuck up. You get the basics of some horse gameplay, talk about all the members of the crew that's fucking died, and then you get introduced to the most wholesome, the nicest character in the entire story, Micah Bell. Micah tells Dutch and Arthur that they found a cabin not too far off where people are having a party. Dutch insisted on joining that party because he could really use a drink. Then he told me to go hide behind a shed in case things get freaky. But there's no time to get freaky when Micah finds a fucking body in the wagon.
There's a corpse right here.
And here comes the first shootout of the entire game. They realize that the people they've been shooting at are a part of a gang called the Old Driscolls, which is their rival gang. And then after surviving the shootout and flawlessly taking out all of the O'Driscolls, Dutch and I searched the house for any valuables.
The place is dry and warm. We could maybe move the women and Jack down here. Big old pool of blood on the floor here.
Dutch tells me to go search an old barn, and I was greeted with a warm hug from an old Driscoll. And after hugging him back, I decided to get some information on what the fuck they're doing down here. The old Driscoll informs me that the rest of the gang are at an old mining camp southwest of the lake, I think, and that they were up here because they were gonna rob some train by blowing off the tracks with dynamite. I decided to spare his life because the more good acts you do, the higher your honor becomes, and the higher your honor is, the better ending the game is. Seriously, if I have any advice for you, if you just started playing this game, beat the game with high honor. I promise you, you will like it so much more. Anyway, after calming an old horse down, I hear a bunch of moaning from the cabin.
Leave her alone!
I wasn't doing nothing. She's one of them O'Driscolls.
No, she ain't.
Being the fuckface Micah is, he drops a lantern and ends up burning down the entire cabin. Also, what kind of idiot are you? Does she look like a fucking old Driscoll? I'm gonna spoil one thing, and that's that this character that they rescued from the cabin becomes one of the best characters in the entire show. I mean game. She introduces herself as Sadie Adler and tells us that the corpse Micah found in the cabin is her, or was, her husband. Pretty fucked up. But this situation is this character's canon event. I swear to God, you just gotta watch to the end of the series to find out. Anyway, we make it back to camp, and Miss Grimshaw, which is basically the organizer, leads the way to my new room.
Now, how come Arthur gets a room and I get a bunk bed next to Bill Williamson and a bunch of darkies?
Should have known Micah was a piece of shit from the beginning. Anyway, this mission's not that bad. Although I would say it could definitely be a little bit better, considering that this is the first mission. And I feel like this mission made a lot of people want to quit the game because of how not, like, I don't know. I honestly feel like the first mission could have started at the Blackwater ferry job and then moved on to the snow area. Kind of like the Blackwater being like a prologue kind of thing, you know? Instead of just like a lot of unanswered questions. It could have been a lot better, but also it's the first mission, but I'm still gonna be a little harsh on it. I'm sorry, but I'm giving this mission a D tier. Although it is important, it is the first mission. I just feel like a lot better could have been done with it. It's gonna be the worst mission of this chapter. In my opinion, have your own. Jesus Christ. Moving on to the second mission, enter Pursued by Memory.
It's little John.
Abigail comes rushing over toward me, saying that her husband John has not been seen in 2 days, and in this weather it could definitely be really bad. What the fuck am I even saying? Anyway, Javier decides that he and I will go looking out for him. Now, if you don't know who John is, it's Abigail's husband, but more importantly, he's the main protagonist of the first Red Dead Redemption game, which takes place after Red Dead Redemption 2. He and Abigail have a son named Jack who hates fishing. Javier and I find a camp that someone's definitely been to. Javier explains a little bit what happened at the Blackwater ferry job. He explains that David got shot, which was the corpse in the very first cutscene, and also how a character named Mac and John got shot, and a guy named Sean got shot or arrested. Keep in mind that they don't know if Mac or Sean is alive. They decided to go off foot because they're taking a route that horses wouldn't be able to survive on. They can hear John's cries for help, but they're choosing to ignore it. I'm kidding, they're looking there. I'm kidding. We get introduced to the crouching mechanic, which I'm surprised they didn't teach us how to do that at the very first mission. Arthur explains how miserable he is, and Javier gives him something better than any therapist. Alcohol. They eventually find John looking like he got a good lesson from fucking Wolverine. I kill a bunch of wolves that are trying to eat the fuck out of us. John's wife, Abigail, rushes over to John with joy, grateful he's alive, and then pretty much calls him an idiot 5 seconds later. Dutch claims that they have to head east back where they came from, not west like they planned. I stroll back to my room and bam, that's the mission.
Hardly the spring I had been hoping for.
I like this one slightly better than the first one, so I'm giving it a C tier. And now I head on to the next mission, Old Friends.
You lot have all turned yellow. Apart from you, of course.
Damn, Micah's way more racist than I remember.
Fuss.
When you fall, there'll be a party.
Anyway, for some strange reason, we're going out to kill a bunch of old Driscolls even though we're supposed to be lying low. We follow some horse tracks hoping it will lead back to their camp. We get some very subtle backstory about the rival between the old Driscolls and Dutch Vanderlyn.
You killed his brother, Dutch.
We see some smoke that's likely to be the location of their camp. I pull out my spy binoculars and see Cornwall Driscoll, which is the leader of the old Driscolls, slap the shit out of one of his guys. We make our way down to the camp, which leads to the first big shootout of the whole game. Now, you actually don't have that much health in the first few missions, but I'm so good that I did this first try, even though it's very easy to die in this mission. I don't really know what I'm supposed to say about the shootout, so I'm just gonna let the gameplay roll. Oh, that was sick. This is also called Deadeye. It's where you aim and everything moves slow motion. Kind of like Michael's power in GTA 5. After taking out all of the O'Driscolls, I loot almost everything that I can. And I totally forgot to tell you, but the whole reason why we're here killing O'Driscolls in the first place is because we need to find some dynamite, and there it is, baby. The reason why we need dynamite is because one of the O'Driscolls that I interrogated in the very first mission told us that they were planning on blowing up a train, or tracks, and then rob the train. So now we're stealing the idea and taking all the credit. It's like elementary school. We also find out that we're robbing Leviticus Cornwall's train, which becomes a very important name later in the game, so stick around for that. On our way back home to get drunk, we find the O'Driscoll that got slapped by a Cornwall Driscoll. I chase him down and kidnap him.
You're coming with me.
This is where we get introduced to Kieran Duffy, an old Driscoll who does not like being an old Driscoll, as you can clearly tell.
Where are you taking me?
Somewhere you ain't gonna like.
Why? What are you gonna do to me?
Something you ain't gonna like.
Please.
I got a saying, my friend. We shoot fellas as need shooting, save fellas as need saving, and feed 'em as need feeding. I can't believe it! An O'Driscoll in my camp!
I ain't an O'Driscoll.
This is a great mission. I'm giving this one an A tier. It's so fun, it's so iconic, and it's pretty funny too. The next mission is called The Aftermath of Genesis. Arthur whips up some amazing comedy in this cutscene.
When I was in the Navy,
I do not wish to hear about what you got up to in the Navy, Mr. Pearson.
we were stranded at sea for 50 days.
And you unfortunately survived.
When we ran away from Blackwater, I wasn't able to get supplies in.
Well, when government agents are hunting you down, sometimes shopping trips need to be cut short. If needs be, we can eat you. You're the fattest.
Pearson tells me to go hunting, but I really don't want to, but then Charles steps in and says that we're going, and so that means I guess we're going. Oh yeah, we get introduced to Charles in this one, and Charles is one of the best characters in the entire game. Charles starts tracking deer like a wizard. We also get introduced to the bow and arrow, one of my favorite weapons in the entire game. We also get introduced to Eagle Eye, which is a tracking ability, so you can track the path of, animals that have been there. After finding some deer, I very skillfully shoot one in the neck and it does not run away at all. After doing all the fucking work cause Charles got a boo-boo, I stow it on the back of my horse, ride back to camp, and that's the entire mission.
I feel like we haven't spoken for days.
I do my utmost to avoid you.
Just kidding, I skin a deer, then that's the mission. I actually like this mission. It's pretty chill and you get introduced to a bunch of really cool things, specifically Charles and the bow and arrow. It's also kind of a break from all the intense stuff that's going on. I'm giving this a C tier. Moving on. Who the fuck is Leviticus Cornwall? As I'm sitting with John hoping that he's okay, Dutch walks in and reminds me that we have to rob a fucking train. We also kind of get introduced to Jack, which is John and Abigail's son, 4-year-old kid.
Guess I was hoping to see a corpse. You're a rotten man, John Marston.
He is an idiot!
Fuck John, it's time to rob a train. Hosea, which is one of the best characters and who I never really talked about, is the only one speaking common sense here.
I just don't want any more folks to die, Dutch.
I should mention that Dutch, Hosea, and Arthur have basically been the 3 musketeers for a good while. They've been best friends forever.
Leviticus Cornwall's no joke, Dutch.
Who is Leviticus Cornwall?
He's a big railway magnate, sugar dealer, oil man.
Well, how good for him.
Dutch!
Get your horses ready!
Dutch!
We have a train to rob!
Dutch!
Can I just say that the cinematic horse riding scenes are absolutely they're pretty good. You'll also notice that the snow is starting to melt, which is it's awesome. We arrive at the tracks and notice that Bill is working on the dynamite trap. Bill Williamson is the guy that Micah punched at the beginning. Now I have to go help Bill because he has ginormous hands and can't work on dynamite properly. You know what I can't do properly? Talk. Speak clear. But there's no time to mumble, even though I'm probably gonna mumble for the rest of the series because I just can't really talk that well. After finishing setting up the dynamite, I ride on back to my good friends and we are gonna get ready to rob a train. The train is on time, the dynamite is in place. What could possibly go wrong here? Bill Idiotson didn't place the dynamite properly, so we fucking missed our fucking... God damn it. So we jump on the train instead, which I actually think is a better idea than blowing it up, because what if we blow up all of the money that we're supposed to rob? What are we gonna do? Hey, I found this fucking burnt in half money after helping out Lenny and leaving Javier behind.
We best get up there!
Take out all of the guards, or at least all that we can.
Nap. Oh, just stay calm.
try to go over to stop the train, but I'm stopped by the train engineer, and he chokes me and tries to kill me, but you know that's not gonna happen. I break free from that motherfucker, and I fuck his ass, and wait, what? But I see this fight as an upside because I get another victim to throw off a train. Life is amazing in Red Dead Redemption 2. After stopping the train, getting off of the train, there's another big shootout that I gotta attend to. I successfully eliminated all of the guards when I only died once. But fear not, Dutch and the rest of the gang come back to save the day. Dutch gives one of his most famous quotes that was in one of the trailers for this game.
Listen to me. We don't want to kill any of you. Any more of you. I give you my word, but trust me, we will.
I work for Leviticus.
Shut the fuck up. The Leviticus Cornwall fanboys refuse to listen to us, so we have to do what any other civilized human being would do. Shoot them out. Shoot them out of there, bitch. When that doesn't work, we blow the door with dynamite. They finally come out of there, which gives us a chance to rob the train, finally. I find a bit of money on a poker table, but what really catches my attention and what you were supposed to get are bonds, you know? If you don't know what bonds are, I'm not surprised. I don't even know what bonds are, to be honest.
Bonds. I think we can probably sell these pretty easily.
He tells me to get rid of the train, and he also asks me what I want to do with the remaining guards, and I have a really good answer that solves all of our problems.
I don't know.
I tell him to get the fuck on the train well, god damn it. Train go bye-bye. There. Just makes it easier for me. This mission is getting an S tier. It's so fun. It's the first really good mission of the entire game, in my opinion. I loved this mission. This was the mission that made me want to continue the game, like, as much as I can. Like, this is, like, the first train robbery out of many. Anyway, moving on. The last mission of Chapter 1. Eastward Bound. We're finally getting out of this horrible weather that everyone's been suffering from. Hosea says that we should set up camp near oh, wait, what the fuck?
In Horseshoe Overlook near Valentine.
And we get the first cinematic music scene of the entire game. I'm pretty sure. God, I love the Red Dead Redemption 2 music. I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things about this game. And we're finally out of that goddamn snow. This is the first gameplay out of the snow, and it felt so nice. Everything is going great until the wheel fell off.
Ah, I broke the goddamn wheel.
Getting the wheel fixed was actually pretty easy. All I had to do was click a few buttons on my controller, and there we go, blammo.
You ain't so useless after all.
Now, there's not that much to say about this mission. It's mainly just riding over back to their new camp. But we get some backstory between the characters, and I'm just gonna let it play, to be honest.
My father was a colored man. When we were forced to move from our lands, the three of us fled. My whole life I've been on the run. A couple years later, some soldiers captured my mother. Took her somewhere. We never saw her again. Around 13, I just took off on my own.
That was about the age we found young Arthur here.
All of that tragic dialogue, and that's what you have to say? Really?
But he learned fast.
Not as fast as Marston, apparently.
Wait, I don't understand. What's the problem between you two?
Arthur?
It's a long story.
Here we are, gentlemen. Home sweet home.
Miss Jackson, I've seen shit with more common sense than you. Do it properly.
And that, my good friends, is the end of Chapter 1, and we move on to Chapter 2 in the next video. But first, I have to rank this mission. Now, this is actually the first mission I ever played in Red Dead Redemption 2, because I was playing on my friend's Xbox, and the first time the game opened when I played it, it went straight to this checkpoint here, and I just started playing then, and I fell in love with the game. I honestly really like this mission. It's got the dialogue between Arthur, Jose, and Charles is it's amazing, and it's really boring, but I feel like it's important. I don't know, there's something, and the music, there's just something about this mission, but it's not like an A tier or an S tier. Nah, I'm giving this a C tier. End of story. If you got this far, come in Chapter 2. I'm editing Chapter 2 next, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. We got a lot more to cover.